Man, it's cold out here in these Florida streets. Not in comparison to the rest of America, but you. So I want to talk to my 30, 40, 50s and up because I was watching another creator and they were giving tips to young people for things that they wish they had known when they were younger. And I went to the comments and I saw where there were older people saying, man, I need to know this now. And I realized a lot of times we cater to the younger generation, hoping that we can help them to avoid the mistakes we've made. But a lot of the people who are more mature need to know some things too. So one of the things that I've learned in the last 15 years, like really driven it, is go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Now, you may have heard this before. It's something that even I came up with, but when I was growing up and coming up in church, but I didn't understand it till I got much older. When people want you at the table and they want you in the room, they will move over to make room for you. Sometimes we seem to think that we've got to force our way into rooms as opposed to building our own rooms, or force our way to the table as opposed to building our own table. This is especially true in dating. I noticed this with people who are really wanting to get married. They try to kind of force a person into their life or try to make room for somebody to come into their life. That person doesn't have any of the values or the standards or the things that you really desire, but you're going to try to kind of see the possibilities and push them into your life some way, somehow. You see the potential for them, but they don't see the potential in themselves. So what ends up happening is you start to lower your standard. And we do this with friendships as well. We know that person has way too much drama or foolishness in their life. They may be involved in things that we don't normally get involved in. They may be party to some other activities that really don't fit into who we are. But we can make excuses for it under the guise of, well, nobody's perfect. Now, it's different if you see that person's trying to do better. Maybe they're going to therapy. Maybe they're asking the right questions to be able to transform their lives and to become better and to raise their standard. That's one thing. But that's when you take time to observe and to learn who that person really is. But when it comes to friend groups, let's say there's a group of people at your church or a group of people at your job you really want to be a part of, you want to get to know them better, but every time you go over, they give those little looks, or they start to get quiet, or they pull back and they start to kind of push you away. You're not being celebrated there. You're being tolerated. There may be one person in that group that you may vibe with, and they could become lifelong friends, but they have to be willing to either step away from that group to speak up for you when you're not there or even in your presence, or they have to show themselves friendly. You can't be the only person showing yourself friendly, because that's when you start to basically cast your pearl before swine. You start to give your gifts, your talent, your time, your energy into the wrong places to people who don't really want it. They'll take it if you give it to them, but they don't really want it. When you're really wanted in a group dynamic or really wanted by other people or another person, they'll make it known. They will make room for you, and they will make sure that you know that you're welcome. And in order for you to recognize this, you have got to raise your self-esteem. You have to raise your understanding and your evaluation of who and what you are, and then develop that even further to the point where now, if people treat you like that, you don't even want to be a part of them. Or perhaps they don't say anything to you. You're watching and you realize that these people, that group, that organization just isn't for you anyway. It doesn't really have any place in your life or in who you're becoming. And it's not about rejecting them before they reject you. This is about saying, these are my values, these are my standards. They don't measure up. That thing, that organization, that group of people or whatever it may be, that person just doesn't measure up to my values. And then you find yourself having peace because now you're being proactive and intentional about the relationships that you are creating and cultivating. If you want to know more about this, please like, follow, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And my name is Sarah Green. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and mindset coach. I talk about this stuff all the time, and I talk about it in my new book. Stay tuned.